All right, hello and welcome. I'm
Hi.
Kate, and
I'm Gerriet.
and we're going to be interviewing Gerriet today about different things that he does or has done to improve his Spanish. Hi.
Hi.
The first question I wanted to ask you was, what things do you do or have you done to improve your language skills in Spanish through listening?
Through listening. I think I have a really usage-based perspective about second language acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
And so a usage-based or frequency-based perspective. And so what this is talking about is that, basically there's no secret. It's like the more you practice, the better you get.
Mm-hmm.
So language learning is a function of frequency.
Mm-hmm.
I try to improve my listening, I definitely just try to listen to things as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, I haven't been improving my listening very much at all. But I definitely know that I think for me, listening is the hardest thing. I can comment on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's always funny to me, like I can watch a news broadcast or something and I totally understand the themes, I understand the specific points they're making, but oftentimes it'll be I won't understand, well, does the interviewer like the person or do they not like the person? Like I can't understand these bigger gist messages that are somehow beyond, like kind of the inferences beyond the specific details. That's always a real challenge for me. And I think I will just get better at that if I just keep practicing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes those things are buried, like little details about opinions that can be buried in places and you miss them or you don't know to look for them.
Well, I mean, my other comment maybe would be like that I think I don't have I'm American, so I have my American cultural tools to understand and interpret information. And so I'm not sure sometimes, I don't think that those tools apply necessarily in the Colombian context. So I hear information and arguments that are given in Spanish, and I understand the logic, but I don't understand the cultural interpretation that should come out of it. Because I'm American, I make my American interpretation.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about speaking skills?
Yeah, well, I think as we were talking a little bit earlier, I think, my tip for language learning, if you pay attention out there, is to fall in love with somebody. And I think and then speaking all the time really helps. I notice for myself that, during the vacation periods where I'm only speaking Spanish, my Spanish fluency improves incredibly. But when I'm teaching English, and giving classes in English and all of this, because I'm changing channels all the time, English, Spanish, I notice that my fluency really decreases in Spanish. And so that's definitely something. And I think maybe the other thing that I would say about speaking is to relax. I feel like I am my own worst critic, and I can be very critical about the way I speak or about the way I'm communicating. But I also notice that all of this self-criticism does not help me in any way. In fact, it makes me rigid, it makes me, it's sort of inflexible and not able to respond rapidly and appropriately. So I feel I definitely notice that when I'm relaxed, I speak more precisely, with more confidence, more naturally, and then when I'm somehow nervous or angry or upset or worried, I can even stutter. It's quite funny.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When you if you start to feel nervous, it can be the words just don't come.
Freaking brutal.
And so the last thing I'm curious about is when you're communicating in Spanish, how do you prepare for that, or how do you work to improve your communication with other people in Spanish?
I think in terms of communication, maybe two things. The first would be, how do I, because inevitably I'm going to have, grammar that's not perfect or something, or that's not really standard or frequent. And so to me, it's really important that my message is really clear, like a really clear main idea. I try to give really clear, grounded arguments that are grounded in reason, that kind of help people understand, or emotion, but whichever the case, like that help people understand why I'm thinking and how come I've arrived at the conclusion I've come to. So I feel like that's one really important thing about communication. I think the other important thing about communication, and it's a little bit related to speaking and pronunciation as well, is like to have, I feel like for me it's really important to have a cultural model, actually probably various cultural models, or a variety of models. And what I mean by that is like, I don't have them as much as I would like. I would like to have a variety of different male, because I'm a guy, speakers of Spanish who I really admire the way they talk. For me, it's important to be energetic when I'm talking. It's important to be intelligent. It's also important to have fun and to like interject a little bit of humor. And so for me, I know how to do this in English. I can perform all of these different cultural roles or performances or whatever, but I don't know how to do that in Spanish, and I think the rules are different. And so for me, I think it's really important, and I still want to have this, is to have this appropriate role model or a combination that I can really be like, oh, I saw how that guy was really funny, and like I can do that like him, because I am funny sometimes.
Yeah.
And so how do I learn how to do that in ways that are culturally appropriate, culturally recognizable, I think. Yeah, that would be my other tip for communication, have role models.
All
and
right.
get to the point.
Get to the point. Interesting. Well, thank you.
You're so welcome.
And good luck to everyone learning languages
good
out
luck
there.
out there in that big wide world.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.